and gentlemen, welcome to episode 278 of the Drunk Dash Runs podcast. I'm your host as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tyler. I am alright. At the moment, I have been playing some bits of games this week, though. Maybe not as much as I would like to, after spending so much on actually acquiring games. It's kind of funny during the past week where I've hardly actually have played a bunch. But, yeah, I'm doing alright, man. How about you?
Doing alright. I've played a decent amount of games this week. None of them super long, but I'm playing some, and some exciting news. I was telling you before the show, but tickets have been purchased. Room is booked. I am officially going to Las Vegas at the beginning of August 2nd through the 5th to be exact. Going to go for the Talking Ship 10-year anniversary.
Nice.
And for those of you guys that have been listening long enough or might remember, Jake, the guy that we started the show with, I am rooming with him. We are getting separate beds. Just want to make sure that is out there.
And he will lure you into the darkness, like always.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sleeping with the light on. Lights on at all time. That's rule number 1. And we have to be facing each other at every point, at every opportunity that's possible.
And if he tempts you to play Dungeons and Dragons, you will run promptly away.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'll just sleep in the hallway. Or I'll just knock on the guy door next to me, and I'll just sleep in his room or something. I don't know. Figure it out. Or hopefully her room. We'll see. Yeah, but that's pretty exciting. Not a lot going on with me. Same old. Drinking some delicious beer though. Ready to record an episode here. So let's go ahead and jump on into that. Let's do the games first then.
All right.
I'll go ahead and I'll run through mine because I haven't played. I think I could go through mine fairly quickly. Played some more Mario Tennis Aces. Getting better at that. I started doing more of the regular Mario Tennis rules instead of like the realistic rules that I was doing last week, and that's been really fun. Where I've been getting into like the third round and the finals more often. Where I was playing the realistic rules, getting past second round was very difficult. But I'm fine with that still. I don't know how long I don't know if it's not something I'm playing like all the time every day. I'll pick it up and play a few matches every other day or so. But the only real issue I have is they have the rule about like you can break someone's tennis racket and you win by KO.
Yeah.
And you win that by doing like super shots and doing like special like slow down shots. And if you don't counter them and counter at the right time, you can break your racket or do enough damage that'll break over time. And a lot of people, like, that's how they play the game. They just build up their meter to do these special shots, and that's the only real issue I have is just those people that like. And I understand it's not really cheating or not cheap, but it's just when I like playing people that are just like we're gonna play like a real like I'm gonna outwit you. That's kind of I like the simple one because of that, but I'm better at the regular game. And there's some other things that they strip out of the regular game too that I like a lot. Like you have like your trick shots you can do, things like that. But yeah, that's the one thing I have trouble with is just because it's just it's hard to let because if you don't go back, you just lose that set or you lose that score. But yeah, that's the one main issue I have. It's just it feels cheap. Maybe it's because
Right.
I don't like doing it. I just like let's just try to outplay each other and let's do this legit in a way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still having fun with it. Or that's just a small gripe I have. I haven't seen that like all the time, but I see it enough to where it's an issue for me. Like as soon as I realize I'm playing one of those types of people, where it's like you're just setting us up to do your special attacks. It's like man, okay. Like I almost want to like let you win just so we can get this match over with. But I played a few other games this week. I've actually put a decent amount of time into. I played the Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which I'll talk about next week.
Okay.
I still want to play some more of that. But there's 2 games that I did actually play and complete this week. One is The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which is a game. One of the games I was most looking forward to coming out of E3, It is from the Don't Nod guys. For people that listen to us for the last few years, know, or just in the last year or so, I have raved about the Life is Strange series. And these are the guys. They made their Life is Strange, their first series with like Max and Chloe, and I really liked it. And then who made Deck Nine made Life is Strange Before the Storm, which was like one of my top 10 games of last year. It was a fantastic game, which was a prequel to Life is Strange. Well, this is a free download. Came out Monday. It's on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. But it's technically a demo, but it is essentially the prologue, or not prologue. I don't know what it was. What's the intro? I don't really know what you want to call it.
Introductory thing to like Life is Strange 2.
Yes, exactly. So like I said, it's free to download. It can take you anywhere from probably an hour to maybe 2 hours at most. But what it is you play as this kid. I believe his name is Chris. And he's probably, I think he's 10. He's 10 years old. And he starts off like he has all these action figures. He has a wild imagination, and he thinks he's his alter ego as Captain Spirit, and he always plays with his toys, and he's always like to the rescue. And you can make decisions about how he interacts with his toys and other things like that. But he's just like the super bright-eyed kid. Like he's just happy all the time, but he's living in like a kind of a broken home where you learn some things later on. I don't really know much of spoilers at all because it's not super long, and a lot of this, I guess, doesn't have to do with Life is Strange 2, which is where a lot of people are confused about is how much, because Chris isn't the main character of, I guess, Life is Strange 2, but they haven't really said about some things you did in this will affect the game, but we don't really know what it is. But he has his dad, who like starts off, he's making him breakfast, and his dad's drinking beer, and he pulls out a bottle of whiskey. He's gonna watch the basketball game, and there's a thunderstorm going on, guys. So sorry if you hear that. But so his dad's got a drinking problem, but he's just happy kid, and Christmas is coming up, and you're just off doing like, so you get this like list of things you can do. You don't do all these, but really like the main stuff is you have to like make your he actually has like a Captain Spirit costume he wears, and you can actually create that and design it how you want it to be. Not like super in depth, but you can like make decisions, colors, and what he wears and what he doesn't wear. But it's really heartfelt, and I think it's really well done. The characters, once again, Don't Nod, I think killed it by creating some really cool characters, and the music once again is fantastic. It's Don't Nod in the Life is Strange series, as far as licensed music goes, is fantastic. I still listen to both those soundtracks probably at least once a month on Spotify. I like pull them up. Daughter, who did a lot of the music from, is the band that did a lot of music from Before the Storm. I still listen to a lot. So obviously I'm kind of a bit of a fanboy, I guess, as much as you could be a fanboy for something that's only been around for a few years. But kind of the main cusp of it is like him dealing with the situation, and essentially, okay, so his mother's passed away, and you learn this by reading notes and finding things, and you kind of learn more and more about what's been going on with his dad and what's going on in the background with like his other family. That's kind of like they still want to be a part of Chris's life, but ever since his mom passed away, like his dad's been distant from everybody, and he's got a drinking problem, and but there's a bunch of events happen, and I don't know, it's hard to talk about because there's a lot of spoilers in this,
right?
But the way it's all kind of ran through, and these episodic things are really hard to talk about in general because they're short, and like I said, spoilers. It's hard to talk about with spoilers, but I just want to say it's free. Check it out. It's really well done. If you like those style of games, kind of Telltale-esque style, walking adventures, walking sims, I guess. I don't know if I don't like calling it walking sims, but they're similar to that, I guess. But I would say try it out. You can fly through it in an hour if you wanted. I wanted to see everything, so it took me closer to 2 hours. But I would say, other than potentially losing an hour every time, I would say check it out. I was already excited for Life is Strange 2 when the trailer dropped last week, and it was just a teaser. It was just an image of Life is Strange 2. It's kind of like what people were freaking out when Metroid Prime 4, when all we got was a logo. I was like, guys, it's cool that it's being made, but it's just a logo. But it's just like, I saw that, I'm just like, oh, Gable sent me that on Twitter. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I just started freaking out. I'm like, fucking right. Like, I already knew it was coming. They already said it was coming. We knew it was coming soon. But coming in September was a shock. But, yeah, it's great. It's good to see that. There's concerns, obviously. It's like, how are they going to follow this up? It's different. It's a different, it's the same universe, but it's not the same. It's not Max and Chloe. It's not Rebecca. It's not all those characters. It's totally something new. You're not in Arcadia Bay anymore. And this is a good first step, I think. Obviously it's gonna be hard to top that first one and those characters, but off to a good start so far. And the other thing I played was it's actually an expansion to my second favorite game of 2017, aka still the best game on the Switch to this date. I know I'm in the minority when I say that. Mario+Rabbid's Kingdom Battles expansion, Donkey Kong Adventures. Came out Monday to people, so Monday was a big day for me. We got Captain Spirit and Donkey Kong Adventures, but came out Monday to people that bought the season pass. Tuesday you can buy it separately. I think it's if you bought the season pass, there's $25, and you got some other stuff with it. And if you want to just buy it separately, it's $20. And it's actually a whole separate thing. Like you can play this without even finishing the main campaign. So how it is that like. I'm not even really explaining the story because it doesn't really matter. But basically, Rabbid Peach gets sucked into with Beepo, the little Roomba thing that you use to go around the map. You get sucked into the world of Donkey Kong. And in this, like in the original one, you had I think you had 8 or 9 different party members. Yep. You can only have 3 at a time, but you can pick through any of them that you want. In this one, all you get is Rabbid Peach, Donkey Kong, and Cranky Kong, Rabbid Cranky Kong. Is it Cranky Kong Rabbid? I'm not really sure. But it's actually kind of funny because Cranky Kong, he uses Beepo as like a unicycle. That's how he gets around. So yeah, that's pretty funny. So in the first boss in the first world, the original game was there was a Rabbid Donkey Kong. And now he's actually the main villain of this, but he's like Rabbid Donkey Kong on steroids. Like there's some things that happen to the bananas, and now he's like ultra Rabbid Donkey Kong. He's like 5 times bigger than he was in the first one. But it's more Mario+Rabbids. So if you want more Mario+Rabbids, this is great. Like I'm like, did this blow me away? No. It's which I really wasn't expecting, I guess. I think my expectations were way too high, or I was way too hyped up for this because I love the original game so much that 10 months later, almost 11 months later, like I was just like too amped for it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right. So now I'm like, I brought it back to earth a little bit, but I still really enjoyed it. Like I really liked that game. I was a little upset to find that we couldn't, like, the stuff that we did, like all of my skill tree stuff, all my money, all my characters. Did not translate over to this, but I guess for people that maybe jumping into it, or maybe that don't really care about that, it's fine. You start from the bottom. You have no money. Bananas are actually currency in this game. Your skill tree is at 0 again, but you still have some of your powers you started off with. Like you souped up later in the game. You start off with some of that stuff, but the main cusp of the game, you could probably beat it in. I think it took me about 5 hours maybe. But I did it, like all the puzzles and. I think I missed like one puzzle piece, so I almost 100%ed it. It probably took me, like I said, 4 or 5 hours. But you could probably fly through it in 3 hours. But the main game, like the main issues I have with it is they really didn't add any new characters or anything. They added some different like styles and like different like issues you can find on the map. But like all the enemies are the exact same. They're just kind of a different can of paint on them, I guess. They just made them look more like characters from the Donkey Kong world than you would see in like the original game. But overall, everything's pretty much the same, so it's fairly easy. I didn't really have a challenge. Even on like the boss fights are really good. I think there's 3 mini bosses, and there's the main boss fights is incredible, I think. But those parts stand out. But the rest of the game is just more of it. Like I said, I'm perfectly fine with it. I really enjoyed it. I definitely think it's worth the $20 or $25, whatever it's cost, to have more of that. I would much rather have a sequel, but for right now, I'm more than happy to have this. You can go back into it later, and you can do challenges and stuff in it. So there's more to do if you want to do that. But I don't know. I would say if you like Mario and Rabbids and you completed the game, it's definitely worth picking up. Or if you haven't bought the game yet, you can. I think you can buy the Mario Rabbids with the season pass for like $60 now. Just pick it up. It's definitely worth it. It's really good. I really like that game. And this expansion was really fun too. And some of the cool things they do with like a Donkey Kong. The Donkey Kong thing actually is like the main one big difference with this, where like he can actually like go up onto like the next levels, and he can actually like swing across, and so he can move across the map pretty quickly. And one cool thing you can do is you can actually pick up enemies or pick up like the bricks that you use like for like the hide behind. You can actually pick those up and you can toss those at enemies, or you can pick up an enemy and throw the enemy at another enemy, or pick up bombs and throw those. So he's pretty cool. And then like Cranky Kong has like basically like a grenade launcher, which is pretty cool. So it's definitely different. They did enough to make it. There's enough differences in it to make it worth the purchase. But it's like, don't go in there expecting like huge changes or this huge drawn out expansion. I think I read too much. Like I said, I read too much into it. People are saying it's supposed to be this, and it grew into something much bigger. So when I went in there, people were saying it's a whole another 10 hours of content. I'm like, oh shit, it's like the original game only took like 35 hours. So you're talking about a whole another third of the game. That sounds great, and then come to find out it's actually 3 or 4 hours. So part of that's my fault, but still really fun. So I feel like I'm being more negative than I mean to be, but it's still a lot of fun. But that's what I've been playing. Gables, what about you?
Okay, well, anyway, I've played 2 games this week. One of them, Dead by Daylight. So, last week I started playing a little bit of Dead by Daylight, the game that I had bought off the PlayStation Store flash sale. I've gotten to level 10 with my survivor character, Meg. So, I've at least gotten about 5 to 7 perks. I've done little things here and there. Not so bad. I've tried playing the killer side of things, like tried out the Trapper and the Wraith, because they are considered to be easy characters to pick up and learn. But as far as fun factor goes, yeah, you know what? Playing as the killer just really sucks, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially when you start out. Because of the whole 4v1 dynamic and stuff, it seems like to me that survivors have kind of a bit of an advantage when it comes to not only like knowing what to do in certain spots, but because of my lack of experience playing as the killer, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of adjustment for me to try to just to wrap my head around. Because I think out of the whole bits of matches that I've played as the killer, I think I've hooked up like maybe 1 or 2 like survivors or something like that in all across like multiple matches, where they actually end up like dying or something as a result. Every single match, it feels like there's at least one survivor that escapes. So, in that regards and stuff, I just decided to just farm a whole bunch of blood points in that regard, and then just try to use it for my survivor character, because I want to try to max them out and stuff. But I'm doing it little bits at a time, you know. I'm not really trying to play long durations of that game, because it starts to frustrate me after a while. Because it's that type of a game where you play like little chunks at a time. Like maybe a couple matches here and there, and then just stop. But the other game this week that I have played an abundance of is South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Ooh,
I started
yay.
playing the game on the PS4. I have, in the last few days, I am already to the point where I've already met the Elven faction, and I'm on their side in regards to like, say, the rest of the story stuff. I am currently stuck fighting Al Gore with the whole man-pair-pig stuff. He is the biggest pain in the ass I have played so far. Now here's the thing. On the trophy levels and stuff, most of them are easy enough to achieve and stuff. There's no difficulty changes that are necessary, so I'm mostly enjoying myself playing the game on easy. Even playing the game on easy, going through and try to face Al Gore with the whole Man Bear Pig quest and stuff. Oh, yeah, he's definitely hard, and it's because he stacks on the bleeding elements on top of, from his whole fake Secret Service people, and then all of a sudden just like does the various like stuff to try to debuff your characters and this and that. I don't know why, but even after going through and just using cure potion after cure potion to heal my party, as long as doing ability stuff and even stacking on elements, he always lasts with like maybe a couple turns left to spare. And it really started to piss me off to the extent where I've actually turned off my game a few times, because it's like, I need a break from it.
Yeah. Just to let you know about him, he is the hardest enemy in the entire game. He was the very last thing I did when I 100%ed it on the 360. And I still struggled. I was at max on my level, had all the best gear. Still took me about a dozen tries to beat him. So I would say at this point in time, you should not be fighting him, because I did the same thing you did, where I went there, I tried fighting him, and I'm like, oh, he's like past the end games stuff. Like he's there. You don't.
Yeah, because
he destroys you.
Yeah, man. Because currently I'm like at level 9 with my characters and stuff like that. Because I wanted to try them just before I tried to finish the main game. And yeah, that's kind of a big mistake right there. Because I think the lowest I've gotten them is like about 1900.
Yeah.
So I've actually gotten them pretty close.
That's pretty good.
To actually beat him. But I'm using the weapon where I have the bottle weapon and stuff, my ranged attack and stuff, and I got stacked on with fire and I think bleeding as well. So it's pretty comparable, honestly. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go ahead and just try to skip that. As far as collectibles go, I'm over halfway with the Pokemon stuff. I got one more homeless person to find to complete that one quest for South Park, and I need to find 2 more kindergartners, which I have no idea where they're at now. I found one in the sewer, found another couple like over by with the playground and stuff, but yeah, I need to find the last 2.
Did you find Mr. Hanky and his family?
Yes, I did find Mr. Hanky and his family, and thank you for reminding me. I just got done doing that whole side mission stuff to find him as a summon. And also, I went through the entirety of the sewer area, and I encountered the crab people. Yes. The one crab person that's like just beating on the drum.
What?
But I have no idea how to get past that damn boulder, because there's like a Chimpokemon there too, and I need to get that.
What's the crab people song? Look like crab, kiss like people.
It's like taste like crab, walk like
That's
people.
what it is. Yeah. Okay.
But, yes, the side mission stuff, the first thing I did when I started off this playthrough, I started off as a mage. I went ahead and I got some of the most easiest side quests out of the way first. So I went ahead and I recruited Jesus. I found Jesus in the church.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Or one of my favorite parts.
I love that. That's one of the first things I do, honestly. Let's see. That's the first thing I did, really. After I got out of the first initial stuff with the opening for Koopa Keep, I went ahead and I got the package from Mr. Slave, and I also got, like, the rosary beads and stuff from finding Jesus in the church. So I already know how to explore stuff. I've unlocked all the travel points, so already completed the quest there for unlocking Timmy and stuff. Sure. I gotta admit, man, one of the best side characters that I've encountered so far for, like, a partner-wise has to be Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, because he sings the songs, doesn't he?
He's the bard. He sings the songs, and in the middle of his stuttering and stuff, you have to mash the X button in order to gather up the stuff. I laugh every time, and I feel like such a bad person for doing that, because it's like, stuttering is not a laughing matter, but at the same time, for him, just having to mash the buttons in between him stuttering and stuff so I can go forth and complete the incantations is actually pretty hilarious.
That game's brilliant.
Oh my gosh, let's see. I have completed a lot of the different side quests already. I've went through the school, I've recruited, like, Token, Tweak, and Craig, obviously. I am in the middle of things trying to recruit the goth kids, but in order to do that, I had to hang the sign of the PTA meeting, but they won't let me hang it unless I investigate the freaking Secret Service Taco Bell crap. So that's pretty much what I have to do right now is try to infiltrate the Taco Bell. So I feel like I'm almost like halfway through this game. As a matter of fact, I think I am past halfway.
Yeah, you're flying through, especially at level 9. Because I think level 20 or 25 is the level cap. And I remember I hit the level cap well before I finished the game, both times.
Let's see. I've done the side quest where I have beaten the Mongolians on top of the freaking tower
that part's
and stuff
great too.
to beat them up so I could scare away, and so I beat up their kids and stuff so they could scare them away. Think it's a bad neighborhood.
Goddamn Mongolians!
Now you gotta go. You gotta beat up the Chinese. You gotta beat the Mongolian kids. Really?
Breaking down my shitty wall.
They conquered me last week.
Anyway. I keep doing that voice at work and stuff because I have coworkers that are big South Park fans and stuff, and when I do that and stuff, there's the stitches and stuff because of how accurate I can do it. It's like,
"Hey, Mongolians conquered me last week. You gotta go. You gotta beat up their kids so they think it's a mad neighborhood."
It's so good.
Oh, hi there, Mongolians.
Hey, Mongolians, nothing to see here.
Yeah, the Mongolian beef is really yummy. Yes. Mm.
It's so good. Oh, now
I know.
That game.
That's one of my...
Again.
My God. I don't know why. I've watched this game get played through from beginning to end a couple of years ago. I've played a lot of it on Steam. Now I'm playing the PS4 version of it. And I don't know what it is. It's just how the game plays and all the hidden things hidden there. It's just a fantastic game. I mean, I just cannot believe how good of a licensed TV show game is. Because it's so reminiscent to an actual episode of South Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they nailed it.
Oh boy. Oh, let's see. I'm past the whole alien probe thing. Which, that was so fucking funny. I just randomly go through, and it's like, you see Randy getting the anal probe and stuff. And it's like, it just goes to this complicated, like, do-do-do-do-do-do. And then, like, just accidentally missing. It's like, oh, God! Oh, gosh. But, oh, boy. And then I completed the side quest of getting Jimmy's flute, and you got to literally... Actually, you don't beat those Nazi cows. Those Nazi cows just explode.
Oh yeah, they're
kamikaze-wise.
Yep.
Like, what the hell?
Oh, so you've been to the abortion clinic then?
No,
okay.
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I have not yet. Not the Planned Parenthood clinic.
Yeah.
No, but I have encountered the freaking the whole freaking Nazi-esque alien influence and stuff, like the whole goo and stuff. Like the crazed man you encounter upon the alien spaceship.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Who leaves the audio logs and stuff, and it's like, I don't know why, but I just keep listening to these audio logs and stuff like that. They mean nothing, but I always just listen to one more just in case.
Yeah, I love the make fun of audio logs as they're recording an audio log.
And then all of a sudden, eventually, he just eats this green goo and just turns into this shouting German, oh god. My god, man, it's like playing this game after playing through the glut of RPGs that I did earlier on this year. It's just definitely refreshing because the gameplay is very simple, as sort of like a Paper Mario style game where you have different button presses and stuff to counteract and block enemy attacks, and then maybe do an attack of your own. At some points, I felt like I definitely was overpowered, when I was doing some of Jimbo's side quest things to try to take out some of those monsters, oh god, taking out that freaking bulldog or something, what it was, over in Kenny's area. Oh Jesus Christ, that one was kind of a little bit much for me, but I noticed they just try to tout it off as some sort of big heavy monsters or something like that. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh okay, this is just a regular rat or something with a head of a penis sewed onto it.
No, that's Mr. Garrison's penis.
Oh god. Oh wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, when he's it's in the TV show when he wants to go back to being a man, so they use stem cells to grow his penis on a rat.
Oh my god, the penis mouse. Oh god, that's actually a pretty fun reference because I did not catch that. Then let's see, the blood orange bat inside the bottom end of the sewer and stuff. I've already did that. I think I have maybe 2 more monsters in order to beat in that side mission and stuff. But yeah, I am absolutely having a ball playing the Stick of Truth, even regardless of like, oh boy, getting annoyed a lot by Al Gore inside that freaking game.
Excelsior.
Although, man, it is pretty funny as hell and stuff when he starts the boss battle by showing you slides of global warming. I mean, God, that is brilliant.
Always flies in.
And it doesn't do any damage either. Or maybe it does. Maybe it puts you to sleep or something if you miss time, but it's like... I've, like, avoided every single time, it feels like. Oh, man. You know, it's some of my favorite parts of exploring South Park, though, is you just find the random, like, houses and stuff that are not affiliated with any of the kids, and then, like, opening, you just see all this, like, crazy stuff. Like, you see this couple doing it and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like... You see the dude just, like, masturbating or something on his couch. It's like, what the fuck? Then the one with the horse and the guy and the freaking black hood. Like, okay, that's much.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
And the end part is they all scream as they're discovered and stuff. They run to the door and close it.
Yeah. Like, the main story of the game is great enough, but then the side stuff might actually be better than the main stuff.
I think so too. I mean, the side quests inside South Park: The Stick of Truth, it definitely outshines some of the main quest stuff. Because look what you do with the main quest stuff so far. It's like, not only do you go on, like, and do the various stuff for Koopa Keep and stuff for Cartman's faction and stuff, but you have to rescue Craig from the school, which I gotta admit, though, that is pretty funny with the ginger kids and all the other stuff. But, you gotta beat up Token's security guard. You had to get a gas mask from Jimbo in order to, like, just go past the security guard. Then it's like you gotta beat up a bunch of meth heads or something near Kenny's house and stuff in order to get the special ingredient for Tweak's blend of coffee. I mean, it's just one memorable moment after memorable moment and stuff. And the way it's so creatively, like, done, it's unlike any type of story I've experienced in an RPG. And it's just so quirky. It's like Earthbound-esque sort of weirdness combined with, like, Paper Mario-style gameplay, and it makes it such a fantastic game. But, yeah, after just doing all that and stuff, I'm not too sure when I'm going to be finished with this game. I am pretty close in saying that I'm over halfway there. I am going to just forget about Al Gore for now as the boss, and I'm going to go ahead and just continue the main campaign stuff. Unless I can find the kindergartners and, like, some other, like, homeless people or something to beat up on the... But, yeah, that's about it for me gaming this week, man. It's like, I've been mostly playing stuff on the PS4.
Nice. Very cool, man. That's a great game. No, I really want to go back and play that game again.
I know. I think I may have to eventually.
Yes. You have to get Fractured But Whole next now. But let's move on to some of our topics this week. So, a couple big ones, but a few side things that aren't necessarily news. But they're news, but they're not really typically stuff we go over. But first up, the NES Classic is back. Been out there. I've seen a bunch of pre-orders go up yesterday. It's Saturday night as recording. Came out June 29th. I actually got mine today, all the way from the UK, which is really cool. I ended up paying like $10 less for it to get it, you know, with the currency difference, which is nice. Kind of sucks though. They didn't actually put it in like an Amazon box. They just shipped the box to me, the actual NES Classic box to me, and they just stuck the shipping label to the box. So I got.
Which I'm surprised that still was not stolen, by the way.
Yeah, so the box is a little beat up, which is a little disappointing, because I ordered my SNES Classic from the UK. I've actually ordered two from the UK. The first one I got was the box was barely holding on. The Amazon box they shipped it in, but the inside was fine. But then the one I ordered a couple months ago looks pretty much brand new. I opened it one time with Gables on video showing him.
Yep.
And yeah, so the box is a little beat up, but it's cool now. I have both. Now I just gotta wait for the N64 Classic, but that's back out there now. It seems like it's a little more common, a little easier to find online. It's kind of popping up and going away fairly quickly, but I've been seeing a lot of people on, like on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. They go to the store and they just see a bunch sitting there, actually like at brick and mortar stores. So great to see that. I'm curious to see like how that does not long. I don't know. Long term might be the wrong phrase, but a month from now,
Yeah.
how easy are these things to be find? 2 weeks from now, is this going to be like for the first week? We'll see postings online for, hey, they're up on GameStop, hey, they're up in Best Buy, hey, they're up on Amazon, or you find some in the store and then they're gone forever. They said they plan on selling them through the end of the year, but I'm wondering how common they'll be able to find. How I think people that really 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 want one will probably be able to get one, but I'm curious, like, the thing we thought they were going to be a couple of years ago when they started this was that we just can go to the store and just go buy one. They're sitting on the end of a shelf somewhere. Now it doesn't seem that's the case, so I'm hoping that maybe that will be the case, or close to it at least, where we can at least get one. What about you, Gables?
Well, let's see. I know for a fact when they did the whole Super Nintendo Classic stuff, they did a better job in sort of supply. I was still finding units of that, like, afterwards, like, for the next month after its initial release, because I had stayed that midnight for that launch in order to not only pick up one for my little brother and stuff, but it's like, I think it was like a random Sunday morning, like about a couple weeks after. I'm thinking maybe like a week or so after that I found one and got one for myself.
Yeah.
But for this NES Classic stuff, there wasn't anywhere inside my Walmart today, which suggests that probably some people have already bought up that damn thing in droves. But, well, let's just wait and see. I mean, for one, I do not trust a lot of the inventory stuff to last more than, like, say, the initial month. God, this is the same Walmart that I've dealt with in terms of, like, availability for things that launched, like, say, for the Switch and for the NES Classic before, plus, hell, I was lucky enough to get that special edition PS4, like, a couple weeks ago, only because it was the last one there, and it was like a $300 item, but for a $60 item like an NES Classic that's that popular, and it's been advertised in my local news stations, and, like, even, like, touting, it's like, oh, hey, GameStop has it in stock, oh, this has it in stock. I'm like, I do not trust the availability of this, because even though Nintendo did do a better job, say, with the Super Nintendo Classic in order to supply it for at least a month, I do not trust them in terms of, like, the stocking and quality of, say, the NES Classic.
Yeah.
They have not given me a reason to believe in that.
That's fair. I mean, after, what, a decade or more since the Wii,
I'll tell you what's more telling and stuff like that. For the NES Classic, the only way I was able to get one NES Classic for my little brother is buying it used at a GameStop almost 2 years later.
Yeah, and that's like the luckiest thing in the world probably to happen. Like,
Yep.
the fact that somebody would actually sell one at a GameStop is crazy to me. Like, they could have sold that on, especially that time. You could have sold that on eBay probably for, 100.
About
Yeah.
100.
Oh yeah, easily minimum $100.
They would have made a $40 plus investment.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's really lucky you're able to get the one. But yeah, like you said, they have not earned the right to get the benefit of the doubt. I'm hoping they can.
Agreed.
It's actually kind of cool. Nerves from Talking Ship actually was able to buy the NES Classic and the SNES and NES Classic at the same time at Target today, at his local Target.
That is amazing, and I'm so glad
Yeah.
for him, because he's that type of gamer where he loves a lot of that retro stuff. He loves a lot of the old platformers and this and that. So good on him.
So that's
Good
cool
on
to see that we've still really, ever since the SNES Classic came out, about a year ago, we have last fall. So in that time, I still see postings all the time for SNES Classics. At least probably every week or two, I'll see, hey, they're up on GameStop. Hey, they're up on like Walmart.com. Just randomly popping up places. So hopefully we get something like that for the rest of the year, because they did say they're going to stock them for the rest of the year. So I guess we'll see though about that. But moving on, something bit of a sad note, Gables. I just want to take this time right here to say rest in peace to Toys R Us.
Oh yeah, that's right. The last bits of being a Toys R Us kid actually ended yesterday.
Yes. So my local Toys R Us, there's two local. There's one that really close to my house. There's another one that's a little ways out, but not too far. They both closed well over a month ago. I want to say they closed in like April. So I was kind of surprised that up until a couple weeks ago, I started seeing posts about, hey, it's finally over for everybody. I'm like, oh, I thought they were all gone, but kind of find out they weren't. But yesterday was the final day. I guess in Canada they're still thriving though, fairly well. But here in the United States, they are, and pretty much everywhere else, they are gone. So I want to take a moment to kind of shout that out. And it's a little, I didn't. It was kind of sad, like to show a picture of Jeff the giraffe, and like saying like waving goodbye, like the Toys R Us Twitter feed did, and it's like he's in an empty Toys R Us that the shelves are all empty. Like the shelves are there, but they're all empty and everything like that. But I was like, that kind of hit me a little bit, surprisingly. I was just like, because I was never really much of a Toys R Us kid back in the day. Like, I remember the real big memories I have of like Toys R Us is like, I remember Justin and I and stuff. We go to like, they used to have a Pokemon League back in the day. I don't know if yours had one or not.
I don't know.
But you used to have to call we as soon as they open on Saturday morning, we call and like reserve, because they only allow so many people in there, and you had to like call and get yourself on the list to go, because there's only like a dozen kids would be allowed to go in this, and we just go there and we battle random kids on the Pokemon Yellow and Red and Blue, and then like you can play you play the actual card game, and you battle other trainers. You can real gym badges, like the actual like,
yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, so it was like I had like 5 or 6 at one point. I remember we just go there all the time and like battle random people and stuff. It was kind of cool because it was like the only way I can really test my deck out against other people, and like I thought I had really good cards, and come to find out, no, I did not have really good cards. Like I had no strategy. It was just like I just picked Pokemon I liked, and I just kind of made a deck out of those. But that was always cool back in the day doing that. And then like every now and again you go there and the scooters would be they were right next to the mall, our local one. So we go over there and like the scooters were always like left sitting out. So we just ride the scooters around the Toys R Us when like we were like stupid teenagers. So I remember like one time we stole a shopping cart from there and rode it across the parking lot to the mall, and then we like took turns sitting in the shopping cart and riding around the mall, and almost got suspended from the mall for a little while.
Oh my
God.
God.
So I don't know. Yeah. So I was just sitting there thinking about that. I'm just like, oh man, that kind of hit me. Like I was just like thinking about those. Man, like kind of sad. Like there was actually some cool moments like at Toys R Us, like because I really didn't do a whole lot outside of that. Once I became like a teenager, I don't think I went there outside of a handful of times to like pick up. Like I remember Justin and I going there and getting like special like amiibos and stuff. Like I remember we went there and they're like, buy one get one half off, and like they had like exclusively like Mewtwo's there, and Justin and I going there on a Sunday after Frisbee golf when they first opened to go get Mewtwo's. Some of the nerdiest things I've ever done. 11 o'clock on a Sunday, waiting outside the Toys R Us for it to open to go get a Mewtwo amiibo. And then I got like some, I think I got Nest there too, and a couple other ones. So yeah, I don't know. Gables, I mean, have you ever, I don't know, I mean, did you have any fun moments with Toys R Us, or did you ever, like, were you a Toys R Us kid?
I was never really a Toys R Us kid, to be perfectly honest with you. Because of how far out I lived, the closest GameStop was all the way in Silverdale, Washington, which is roughly like around an hour and a half away from where I am at currently. So when I was a kid, I only went to Toys R Us a handful of times. One by choice, the other not so much. So the time I went to Toys R Us that I remember the most was my mom and I and like in our family, we went to Toys R Us because we had to pick up an RF switch for my older brother's Sega Genesis. So apparently the one that he had ordered did not suit his console, and he needed like an RF switch badly because I think either the dog or something else, like something happened to his old one. So we had the closest place in all of that area was not in Clallam County, that county. We had to go all the way, I think either to Pierce or whatever the hell county or something like that, go all the way to Silverdale in order to go to this one Toys R Us that had this RF switch for his Genesis. So inside there, I went ahead and I got a chance to play a little bit of the. I was like 5 years old at the time of this happening, by the way. So I had a chance to play games on some of the Super Nintendo, like Mosaics they had there. Like I actually had a chance to play a little bit of Killer Instinct back before I knew what the hell Killer Instinct was. And I ended up picking up a game. Actually, I convinced my mom to actually buy me a game that was inside that store and stuff. And I went ahead, checked out a bunch of the box arts, and there was one game there that I saw that actually separated itself from everything else because it was so weird looking and it was so like crazy. And being it was like 1993, 94, the game that I chose was for the Super Nintendo, and it was Star Fox.
Nice.
The original Star Fox. I spent the entire rest of that trip from that Toys R Us and stuff. I went ahead and I kept checking out the box cover. I checked out the back. I could barely read at the time. I mean, I could read somewhat, but I read little bits here and there for the end of the box art. But I kept looking at the pictures and all the other stuff. And later on that night, after we got home, it was like about maybe 7, 8 o'clock at night. I opened the box. My parents helped me hook up the Super Nintendo in their room and stuff, and I had a chance to play that game. And I literally played the training mode because when you power on the original Star Fox for the first time, you're met with that whole computer generated like FX chip like 3D models, and for that time it kind of blew me away because holy shit, this is actually pretty cool looking. It's like that stuff plus that whole experience. So in a way and stuff, I did not go to Toys R Us as much as I wanted to back in the day when I was a kid, because I would always hear about cool games being there, like various toys that I could not get because of the whole stuff, because of sticking at one area for so long. But from the times I did go, I did enjoy what it had experience and stuff, picking up the game, playing little bits of like old classic games. And, well, that's pretty much it, though. I mean, I'm kind of sad it's not around anymore, but at the same point, it's like, that was just a part of the time in my life and stuff where I guess I just wasn't meant to just visit a toy store.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks it's gone. So yeah, once again, rest in peace to Toys R Us. But moving on to some, some Pokemon news, actually. This is not Switch Pokemon news. This is Pokemon Go news, Gables.
Okay, that's been a while.
It is back apparently. So according to superdata.com, they May 2018 was the best month. I can't speak apparently. Best month since the launch of the game in July 2016. I think it had like had $104 million in earnings last month, and has up 174% since this time last year. So a big surge apparently in the month of May. I want to point out, it was a little over a month ago on this very fine podcast, I said I was playing Pokemon Go again, and apparently now it's like one of those popular games in mobile again. I think it was the fourth in earnings on all the apps on iOS and Android last in the month of May. I'm assuming Fortnite destroyed it with like over $320 million in earnings, but still 104 million, up almost double what it was this time last year. Great to hear that. I'm wondering. I'm just kind of curious what caused it. To me, what caused it was the Pokemon Let's Go games being announced. So I'm wondering if, like, maybe the Pokemon Let's Go games are bigger than what I thought they would be for like the casual audience. But I know they added like the friends list earlier this week.
And you can actually trade Pokemon now too.
You can actually trade with your friends, but I think you got to be within like 100 meters though, which kind of sucks. So, which is weird for a mobile game. They're gonna make it, you gotta be like together. But you can send gifts. Like I can go to a Pokestop and spin it, and then you can send your friend a gift. So that's kind of cool. Like I've been getting a lot of gifts. So you get like you don't get as like crazy amount of stuff. You'll get like some Pokeballs and some revives and things like that. So it seems like it's kind of it like I didn't know, like in the last few weeks I've been seeing a lot of stuff on like Twitter, people talking about it, and I'm just like but I couldn't tell if it was like, is it just because I'm paying attention now because I'm playing it again, or is it like, is this bigger? Is it big again? And I maybe not big, but is it more popular than what it was because of the Pokemon Let's Go games? It seems like to me that well, not just doesn't seem like it, but it is actually the fact that it's the most popular it's been in almost 2 years, which is great to see. What about you, Gables? Are you interested in jumping back in Pokemon Let's Go or Pokemon Go?
I'm not sure at the moment, Tyler. I mean, for one, I've never really had any good positive experience while playing Pokemon Go. I mean, hell, when the game first launched, there was so much issues, along with everyone else, even to connect onto the game. And even so, the last time I did play Pokemon Go, I think it was last year, where I did, like, run out of little Pokeballs, this and that and stuff. I caught a bunch of creatures, but at the same point, at that time, I didn't really feel like I wanted to go forth and spend the extra cash in order to get more Pokeballs, because it's like, it's a free-to-play game. I only play it sparingly, so it's like I don't really see too much of the point. But at the same point, yeah, the whole Let's Go games are going to be coming out, and that all on top of having a purpose of actually putting those Pokemon inside the damn game, trading them from your Pokemon Go account to the Switch. Yeah, that's pretty tempting, honestly. That is pretty tempting. Especially for those that actually have a complete set of, like, the 151, which that is still crazy to me that you can do that. But, I don't know. We'll just wait and see, though. I mean, my interest is, like, very, like, it's in the middle. It's borderline right now. I am so burnt out on Pokemon stuff at the moment where it's like, I really could not care less right now.
No, that's fair. No, I definitely understand that you're spending hundreds of hours playing them earlier this year. I don't know. I put I've been playing it for a little over a month now. I put $15 into it. I put $5 into it 2 years ago, so I put in $20 into this over the course, and it's just like kind of funny. Like, I've been playing it, and now I don't know if it's me playing it or me talking about it with people at work, but now a couple other people at work are playing it, so now we're talking about it. So that's kind of added some fun to it, and it was just. It was the last time things were really great in America too, until Trump happened. Started to get political people, but so it was right before all that happened.
Well, are you at least enjoying?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so. I don't know. I really don't. Like, I think I am. Like, it's cool when you level up. Like, I've gone from like level 12, so I didn't play it a whole I played it for a good few weeks, and I remember Justin and I going downtown, walking around when the craziness first happened, and that was fun. But like, it was kind of cool. Last night, actually, I went downtown to go where it's really popular.
Yeah.
I went to go pick up some food, and I was sitting there for 15 minutes, and there was a Pokestop right there, and there's a few Pokestops on the way home. Got those, and. I caught a bunch of cool Pokemon that you don't normally see. Like, at my house, it's almost like it knows the place it makes sense, it's your phone, but it knows your main areas you're at. Because when I'm at home, I just see a lot of Rattatas and Pidgeys and stuff like that. And every now and again, you might find some cool stuff, but it's when you're out at different areas. Maybe it's just because it's more of a popular area. It's being downtown. I caught a bunch of cool stuff, but. When you catch some cool unique Pokemon or some stuff you don't see all the time, that's cool. But I don't know, that there's that cool little you get the little spark and you're like, yeah, that's cool, man, I got this. Or you evolve, you finally get enough candies to evolve your Pokemon. There's some cool moments. I would say, am I enjoying it? I don't know. I don't think so. But it makes you feel good, I guess. I don't know. It's fine. Moving on, because then you're gonna start making me question if I start Pokemon Go, and I don't like that, Gables. Don't question me.
You're double
don't question it. Don't bring
this philosophically.
Yeah, don't bring logic to this conversation. But yeah, everybody should play Pokemon Go. It's a time. But moving on. So something speaking of something that's ancient, that kind of was
Yeah.
popular years ago and now is popular again, uh, the Halo TV show is actually happening, Gables. So, yeah, the Halo Showtime and Microsoft, I assume, and 343 Industries have reached an agreement. They're going to do, Showtime has ordered 10 episodes for the show, which it is calling the most ambitious series ever, which I almost got to agree with, because I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Why is this happening? They've been trying to make a Halo TV show for, I swear, a decade now. And it's they were now, when they first announced the Xbox One, they're like it was all about TV. The big thing they had was like, hey, we're making a Halo TV show and we got Steven Spielberg. And before that, they were trying to do a Halo TV show for years, never happened. Then Steven Spielberg dropped out of it. They tried making a Halo movie, that didn't happen. With Peter Jackson of all people, they've had big names in this and it's fallen apart. So it's just super weird. Like I don't know if this is. I'm curious. Like I live in, I guess, like for online world, like I'm not in like a Halo echo chamber or anything like that. I don't really know. I know people in real life that like Halo, but I don't think they still love Halo. They still love Master Chief, but I've talked to them about it, and they don't seem like super excited about it. I'm curious how it's going to play out. I'm curious how it's going to work out. This feels like not even 5 years too late. This feels like 10 years too late. Like Halo 3 was probably the peak of its popularity in 2008. I want to say 2007, and I think it was 2008. So yeah, 10 years ago, and here we are. Like, you know, we've had a dozen games since, it seems like, and a new studio making it. Bungie's long gone. 343's in. I don't like. I'm not gonna knock them for it. This could be really cool. I'm curious how they're gonna make it work. Like Master Chief, like is he gonna take the helmet off? Is this gonna have to do anything with Master Chief? Is this gonna have to do with Corolla?
Cortana.
Cortana. Yeah, Corolla. That one.
Coriola. What
Yeah,
the hell is this, like an Italian dish or something?
I don't
Like a
know.
cannoli?
I was thinking it was the next thing I was gonna say was the Mexican beer, but yeah,
Corona.
yeah, Corona. I'm gonna go, yeah, Corona. My Corona. My Sharona. Is that her name? It's Sharona. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see like a Halo TV show, and what they're gonna start getting everything together in 2019. Probably going to start filming it in late 2019, 2020. So this show is probably 3 years away. So, I mean, obviously I thought it's going to happen by then. I just don't see why a Halo TV show is not really something to be super excited about. Even, I know I'm not a Halo guy or anything. I'm not going to, but even from a fan perspective, like when the Halo game came out, it was like Halo and Call of Duty were like the two biggest events in gaming of the year when those games came out. Now it's like no one really, there hasn't been, I don't think the excitement's there really, especially since Bungie left.
Well, I can understand that. I mean, when Bungie left, the whole excitement things around Halo kind of diminished once 343 Studios did take charge. And yeah, even though like some bits of like the Halo mythos or something like that past Halo 3 has been sort of like shoddy here and there and stuff. The thing about it is, a lot of the stories though from the Halo universe, some bits can be pretty interesting. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what direction the series will go through. Will it cover, say, the absolute beginning parts of, say, like the whole like Earth-like Federation stuff against the Covenant and stuff like that? Will it actually span out like decades or like millennia things earlier and stuff, the whole thing with the Forerunners and stuff? I mean, there is definitely a lot of possibilities to make this TV show actually decent. Because the thing about Halo as like a sci-fi story, I think it's actually okay.
Yeah.
It's not like, say, the most fantastic things. It's not like, say, a Firefly or like a Star Trek or like any type of like major intricate little like things shoved in here and there and stuff. But at the same point and stuff, Halo as a story, the different types of stories from like the books, some bits of like some of the materials that I've seen, hell, even like some of the Halo stories that made it their way onto video and stuff have been somewhat interesting that I've liked watching. But yeah, you know what? When that thing eventually does come out, I would love just to give it the watch. To watch a couple episodes, see how I feel. But yeah, the potential is there. I mean, it could be a potentially good series, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and people that, like, I remember back in the day that loved Halo swore that the books and comics and stuff like that, like, has a deep, really interesting lore. But
Yeah.
I think for this thing to be really massively successful, it's going to have to rely on, the fan favorites. It's going to get the casual fans involved. That you're really, especially, 20 years plus into the series, you're going to really want to deal with Mai Sharona and Master Chief's relationship in the Flood, maybe. Yeah, I'm just kind of, I don't know. When I heard the news, I'm just like, wow, like, just stunned. I'm just like, I didn't know this thing was still happening, and this feels...
Well, yeah, it's some parts it's Microsoft's fault pretty much because of like how stagnant Halo has been since like the release of Halo 5 and stuff. And even so, like, say, the Halo Infinity stuff that they're coming out with for their new game, it's like, Halo is there. People who do enjoy playing the game do play it, but it's not as massively big as it once was in terms of, like, when Halo 3 released and stuff and all the other stuff. That was the peak of that series' popularity, that whole stuff. And it's up to Microsoft really to establish that gaming franchise and try to expand it to where it's something that feels great again in terms of quality, in terms of things where people could actually get more excited other than, say, like casual people here and there from the sci-fi point of view. But that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I said, you stepped away for a minute, but Peter Jackson tried to make this a movie and it didn't work. Steven Spielberg tried to make this a TV show 5 years ago and it didn't work. But I don't know. I mean, maybe when you have somebody, you have Showtime helping fund it, we'll see. I'm interested to see how it works out. I don't think we've had a lot of, if any, like video games turned into like a live action TV show before. So it would be interesting to see how it plays out. Could be big, Tomb Raider. I watched that movie a few weeks ago, the new one, and it's actually pretty good. Like, it's like the first legitimately like pretty like halfway decent, video game movie ever outside of Mortal Kombat.
The latest Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so Mortal Kombat is a good movie, but it's not an actually good movie. It's just, it's a great movie actually. But it's not technically a good movie. But moving on to our very last topic, and it's a long one, Gables.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna. I'm usually when I like pulls like topics, I'll go through I'll read some articles and I'll pull some bullet points out to read through them. So Jason Schreier, one of the best in the business as far as like getting rumors and releasing leaks and stuff like that, finding information from Kotaku. He usually when he writes an article, they're long. And there's a lot of really good points. So I ripped out chunks of it, but there's still a lot to read. So bear with me, guys, for a minute here. So first off, Google sounds like they're making a console. So I'm gonna take some deep breaths here before I start reading this off. But everything I'm reading is directly from the article. Check it out on Kotaku. Just sure I did it. He's fantastic at what he does. But this is all from him. We haven't heard many specifics about Google's video game plans, but we have heard it is that it's a three-pronged approach, some sort of streaming platform, some sort of hardware, and an attempt to bring developers under the Google umbrella, whether through aggressive recruiting or even major acquisitions. That's the word from 5 people who have either been briefed on Google's plans or heard about them secondhand. Google has been exploring video game initiatives for most of the decade. In 2014, the company was reportedly poised to acquire Twitch before Amazon swooped in. Rumors for years that Google was also attempting to launch an Android-based console similar to the Amazon's Fire TV, but that didn't happen. In 2016, Google incubated studio Niantic scored one of the biggest gaming successes of the last decade with Pokemon Go, but Niantic had spun out into its own independent company the year before. And Google has a long history of hiring game developers for projects that never quite materialized. So they've been trying for years and failing. At the game developers at GDC in March of this year, Google representatives met with several big video game companies to gauge interest in its streaming platform, which is codenamed Yeti. Google also took meetings at E3 in Los Angeles a few weeks ago. Those sources said, from what we've heard, the company is looking not just to woo game developers to the Yeti service, but to buy development studios entirely. So what is the streaming platform exactly? Google services would offload the work of rendering graphics to beefy computers elsewhere, allowing even the cheapest PCs to play high-end games. The biggest advantage of streaming, as opposed to physical disc or downloads, is that it would remove hardware barriers from games. Games like Call of Duty can reach a significantly bigger audience if players don't need an expensive graphics card or console to play them. As one person familiar with Yeti described it, imagine playing The Witcher 3 on a tab in Google Chrome. Some other rumors we've heard suggest that it'll link up with a streaming service in some way. Other tech companies haven't fared too well either. Amazon has spent the past 4 years making big investments into gaming, spending many millions of dollars to woo top developers, build its own game engine, and buy companies like Twitch and Double Helix. Even with 3 full-fledged studios in operation, Amazon has yet to ship a game. Some developers we've spoken to have heard about the project are skeptical. Google's history of starting and abandoning initiatives is a red flag. For example, Google Glass was supposed to be like a huge thing, and within like a year, it was abandoned. In January 2018, the company hired Phil Harrison, the veteran video game executive who spent long stints at Sony and Microsoft as a top manager on the PlayStation and Xbox. As top manager on PlayStation and Xbox, he's also the CEO of Atari for a year. Google has been on a massive hiring spree, bringing in experienced video game developers and marketers from EA, PlayStation, and many other top companies. So a lot there. I'm sorry for kind of, there's some hard cuts there, but I just kind of cut out some of the big stuff that out of it. Like I said, there's a lot more. If you want more detail, there's a lot more inside baseball stuff. You can check out his article on Kotaku. All right, so Gables, with all that, do you think there's room in the video game market for a fourth major console out there? And would you be interested in potentially getting a fourth console?
First off, yes, there is definitely a room for more competition in terms of the video game industry landscape at the moment. We look at the current video game landscape and the major players that are in play right at the moment. You got big companies like Sony with their PlayStation, you got Microsoft with the Xbox, got Nintendo with the Switch currently, and even so you have Steam with their whole marketplace, Valve and stuff with their whole marketplace thing with the whole Steam and all the accessibility. You have even like big name companies have their own like storefronts and their own major things, like EA has their whole Origins and stuff, and Ubisoft has their own like Uplay stuff. So Google actually getting into this whole gaming landscape in terms of, say, having their own service, having their own maybe generalized console sort of way would not surprise me in the least. As for something that I may be interested in, it's really, at this point in time, after hearing a lot of the info and reading into a lot of like what this is supposed to be, it's definitely ambitious to say the least. Now, we're talking about aspects of trying to run high-end PC games without the use of major like video cards or processors and all streaming back and forth between the service. Yeah, that's pretty hard to believe, to be perfectly honest with you, in my opinion. Because even when you do play certain games on PC, if your laptop or your like regular home computer can't even hardly run some of the higher end stuff without having to invest in upgrading certain like graphics cards or even like upgrading like particular points entirety, then you know what, you're not going to get the most out of specific games that run in high end like ultra settings or something like that. So it's kind of hard for me to conceive how exactly they are going to go forth with this type of a service. It's interesting to see if they do eventually, say, if Google does eventually have this be pretty successful in their own way. I mean, to me, yeah, this definitely does sound ambitious, and there are definitely red flags that are being raised, especially since you did bring up a good point inside that Jason Schreier article about the whole thing about Google Glass and how many red flags that game developers had because of how quick Google was to sweep that under the carpet and just kind of ignore it, because that was pretty much a failure in its own right.
Yeah.
But if this actually works out for Google, this could be a potentially game-changing sort of way for the PC landscape. And what I'm saying, a game changer, it's getting rid of some of the nuisance things that PC gamers have had for years. Like, if you want to play a game on the ultra settings, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars in order to invest in sort of like constructing your own like gaming PC. You know, sort of like spending like maybe a couple thousand just for a good processor, or a couple thousand just in order to mold and to create that ideal gaming PC that'll last you for about 10 plus years, hopefully. But it also brings up the sort of the ease of use for many gamers or something like that have had issues with playing like PC games in the past, you know, where it's like, okay, since the price barrier and stuff is not going to be an issue, then just plug it in a controller to play, possibly. I mean, there are a lot more questions I have in regards to this whole Google stuff and their interest in the video game industry than that may not actually be answered for like quite a long while. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens. So yeah, I am interested.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm doing my best not to ever doubt, you know, what these companies can do. You know, like a lot of people doubted Sony when they were going to announce the PlayStation 1. Like, oh, they ain't gonna work. You know, Sega and Nintendo got this everything locked down, and you know, we all know how that went. Same thing with Xbox. No one believed that was going to happen, and it didn't look like it was. And 360 turned it around. No one thought Nintendo was going to turn. No one thought the Switch was really going to succeed after the Wii U, and
yeah, we saw how that happened too.
Yeah, we see how that's going. And now with you know, Google, I'm not gonna really doubt it. I don't think we really had 4 big players at once. Usually 2 or 3. Really, go ahead.
Maybe not so much like say 4 players at once. There were like elements back in the old days, say over 20 some years ago, where it's like there were big power players that had their own video game consoles other than like Sega and Nintendo. I mean, you had Hudson with the TurboGrafx, like the TurboGrafx system. Then you had like Neo Geo, you know, the whole SNK stuff with Neo Geo and all that other stuff. But yeah, I see what you're getting at, though.
Yeah, no, yeah, back in definitely in the 90s, it seemed everybody was trying to get into the video game world, but I mean, now it's bigger than it's ever been. So I think now would be a good time to do it. You know, especially because it's at peak, especially with the streaming service. Maybe depending on when this comes out, that could be, if this is like 5-6 years out, who knows what the landscape's gonna look like by then. And then, you know, it's funny because we talked about 2013 when we started the show, when Xbox came out with like online only and no trading in games. It's locked to your account. Blah blah blah. Like we all outraged digital games, all that. No, and it's like now in 2018, like the majority of games I bought on my PS4 are digital. Like I've gone almost digital on my PS4, and I'm almost at the point now where I'm considering just going digital with my games. I went digital with my 3DS. When we started doing the show 5 years ago, streaming in HD was the difficulty with Netflix. Now I'm streaming 4K, no problem with the internet we have in my location. You know, I live in a busy area, you know, in Des Moines, but you know, it's not like for what it is. You know, we got pretty good internet. You know, this isn't like I'm not living in a cornfield somewhere, but I'm also not living in like San Francisco anywhere. But now we've got strong, good internet service here. So in 2021, 2022, 23, whatever it could be, who knows where we're going to be at, especially if this Google Fiber stuff they've been trying to do for the last decade or so pans out. In the streaming, you know, things are going the streaming way, especially with Twitch. They tried buying Twitch. Who knows if they could be one of the companies out there that can just make their own. You know, Xbox has Mixer. Amazon owns Twitch now. What was that one that PlayStation was all about?
Ustream.
Ustream, yeah. I don't know what the hell happened to that thing, but
that thing is like hardly ever used, honestly.
Yeah, that was like
And now they even have an option where you can just stream things on Twitch, so it's like
yeah. I remember that. Yeah, like that was a big thing. You can like when
they
you
actually dropped the whole support thing for Ustream as well, because the things you can actually broadcast on are like odd, like say upload stuff. You can do it like on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitch, but there's no
Yeah.
Ustream at all.
yeah. So I mean that tells you how things panned out with them. So I that'd be cool. I mean I don't know, like being a physical box. I don't know if I mean who knows how that would work out. But if the idea of it maybe being like the actual, like we always talk about the Games Pass for Xbox being like the Netflix of gamings, but this could be like the real. I mean, maybe you won't be able to rent. You won't be like a flat fee for $15 a month, but this can be the closest thing to it, where you're just streaming everything, and you know you can. If I can stream the new Madden at 4K, no problem in 5 years, that'd be great. But I don't know. It's really interesting to me, like what could potentially happen with this. This can be huge. But like I was like there, like Jay Schreier was saying in his article, Amazon's been trying and failing all decade. Same with Google. Google and them are they've both been fighting over the same space, trying to they've been trying to buy developers, buy gaming companies. I think Google had actually a game in development and it was supposed to come out this year, and they canceled it already. So that was the only game they've shown off. In the years they've been, like the 5 years they've been trying to make games, and it's been canceled. So I mean they're trying, and they're the two main companies that can probably sink millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars in this. And if it failed, like it won't affect them. Like most companies, like we've seen other people try to break in, like OnLive about over a decade ago. This is basically what OnLive was back then, and everybody said back then, and I mean it seems come like it's, especially where we're headed now, where we are now, is online was just a way ahead of its time with the streaming service. It didn't have the support, it had some support from Square Enix, but the games coming out were usually pretty old by then. Nintendo's got better third party support 2 years ago than what online did back then. We had the Ouya come out, and they had some support from a lot of like mobile games, and they had a few pretty popular indie games that came to it, but they eventually came to the other consoles too, and that thing quickly died out. So the people tried to jump into that market and failed. I think the main things they're going to need is they can't go in with like hey, we got THQ Nordic, we have Square Enix. Like those are big developers to have, but you need the EAs, you need the Activisions of the world. You need to have those guys in your back pocket. Ubisoft, like those guys, to create something now, you need those guys, and also you're gonna need some great first party games come out, which they're gonna have to buy some big companies that have great games already, probably they really get the attention of people. Like Nintendo hasn't had great third-party support for a long time, but they have the first-party games. That's what keeps them around. And if they don't have that, they're going to, at the very least, need to have some big games that they bought and acquired on their own to really get some attention right off the bat, and people take them seriously. Otherwise, I mean, there's going to be, like you said, there are going to be another TurboGrafx or Neo Geo, things like that. Atari, where there's going to be another thing that came and went and didn't succeed. I'm all for it. The more competition, the better. It sounds like it could be very expensive. Gaming can be even more expensive in 5 years from now than what it is now. But
very true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not necessarily excited for it, I guess, but I'm optimistic. I'm curious to see kind of what plays out with it. I don't think I necessarily want another console, but I don't. I don't think it necessarily will be a bad thing to have more video games out there. That doesn't sound like necessarily a terrible thing. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's probably gonna be a long time before we see anything about it, but yeah, we'll wait and see. But Gables, we've had a lot of technical difficulties this show. Hopefully, if I do my do a good job, you won't notice those. We've had multiple drop phone calls during this. Apparently, Skype and Google Hangout hate us tonight. But once again, if you guys, hopefully no one noticed that until I said something here. But I want to thank you guys for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we have a Facebook page and group. It is Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast. Like and join us on there. Twitter at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. Twitch, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Twitch.tv/Drunk Nerds Podcast. Follow us on there as well. It says friend requests. We like friends. Friends are good. On YouTube, Drunk Nerds Podcast on there as well. Drunk Dash Nerds, I'm sorry. On there. Subscribe to us. The podcast goes up there. Give us a big thumbs up on those, please. Leave us a comment, please. And also on iTunes, Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. Leave us a 5-star review. And leave us, actually, write us a nice little note. We really appreciate it if you did. By that, I've been your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next week, everyone, have yourself a good week. Have yourself a safe 4th of July. And obviously, have yourself a fun time listening to a good old episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast.
Right. Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye.
See ya.